It says the forced dispersal of people from encampment settings is not an appropriate solution or strategy, accomplishes nothing toward the goal of linking people to permanent housing opportunities, and can make it more difficult to provide such lasting solutions to the people who have been sleeping and living in the encampment. This is what is happening. And as this is true all year, I also think that the words during the winter months need to be removed from the fourth whereas in the resolution declaring a shelter crisis declaration. Okay. Well, housing is the goal. For many, dispersal from campsites is the current reality. The shelter crisis declaration can help establish an alternative in the form of a well-managed camps and or detached bedroom facilities. The shelter crisis can do that. But as the government code does not apply purely to private facilities, it talks about facilities of governmental agencies. I recommend that in item 3L of the committee, that it says assume responsibility for recommendations. I have it written down here, you can see it. The other thing is on the very last part of this, the name of the needs to be changed.
Thank you. Ryan can take it, yeah. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Roy Dahlberg. I live in Trinidad. I'm not going to take very much of your time. I was a public defender in Sacramento for going on 30 years. We had 10 years ago big homeless problems. We tried to grapple with them. People in the legal community tried to grapple with them. One of the things that we didn't do, and I fear that you're going to make that same mistake here, and I don't have quite a solution, but I think it's really important that you understand you have to involve the homeless people in whatever task force or committee you set up. You have to find a way to bring into your discussion people who are living on the streets, who really understand what it's like, and who are suffering. And I would ask that what you do is when you set up your task force or your committee, that you make one of its first goals that it co-opt onto itself some people who represent that community. I really hope you do that. I'm willing to do what I can. I know the other advocacy organizations in the county are willing to help in any way we can. But I really do think that's critical. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I wasn't going to speak on this either. I just would like to say that I think that there's a real lack, maybe not in yourselves, but in a lot of people around here that forget that the homeless population are humans. And not only that, they need houses, they also need bathrooms. And I don't see a lot of them. Ferndale is the only city, I think, that really has a public bathroom, maybe some in Eureka. I feel like I've been to them before that are locked, like in Old Town, and you can't even actually get into them. I mean, they're human beings that are down on their luck, and maybe people look at them and they say, oh, well, I work really hard for my money and I pay my rent, and, you know, why should I care? But, you know, one day you could have a health situation and you don't have a whole bunch of savings, or, you know, you have a heart attack, $100,000. My kid went in the hospital when he was 4. He's 8 now, so 4 years ago he went in the hospital for some fluke thing that was actually no big deal. However, he had to get medvaced out of the hospital here. He had to get taken to UCSF. It cost over $200,000 just for the room for him to sleep in at UCSF for 5 days. Cost $60,000 for the hotel room here. Cost $68,000 for the helicopter airplane to take us there. That doesn't even cover the fact that he was actually treated with naproxen or naproxen, which is just an anti-inflammatory, but he was on morphine for the whole 11 days that he was in the hospital till they actually made a diagnosis. If I did not have health care insurance, whew, I wouldn't be here today talking. I would be on the street begging for a place to live with my child. So I would just like you to take, and everybody who might be listening to this in the public, to realize that these people are human, and it doesn't take much to become them. Like a lot of people like me today, all my savings is towards this thing to try to make my life go right, but now it's just all going wrong. So people are really close. There's going to be more people added to it if you guys as a team don't come together and figure out some way to make things right for us. Not just me, but the whole community. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm glad that we're here today. I don't want to repeat myself. I've been talking to you guys for so many years. I feel like everybody just repeats the same thing over, and I don't want to do that today. I want to thank you for your work that you've done on this issue. One of the things I do is I would like for you to declare a shelter crisis. I would like for you to take the trust fund. All that wording seemed a little baby soft for me, banana soft. We need to really put some wording in there where it addresses the people that can't get the services that they need, the people that we see every day, that the Department of Health and Human Services speaks about, those people in the gap. And so I would like for that wording to really be in there. That's really, really important. And when you pick the committee, I think what's really, really important is, of course, you have the experts that know what's going on with homelessness, but please put a homeless voice or two in there. It's really, really important. People work with homeless, but they don't understand homelessness, and they don't understand some people don't, Rex. They work with them, but they don't. And I just ask that voice be in there, because you know how important it is. It's how we get things done. And I appreciate you, Rex, and what you're doing. So I just feel like that voice, that homeless voice, has to be there. They've endured it, they've lived through it, and they have something to educate us with. And so I appreciate both of you bringing this forward, Wilson and Bash, for putting it on the agenda. But please, when we do this, let's really address it. So if we do that and we make it nice and tight, we're going to grab those folks up and we'll really address this issue in our community. Thank you for all you do, and have a good day.
Thank you. Welcome. And those of you in the back, can you move up just a little bit? We're trying to keep this exit clear. The fire marshal's been on us. Thank you. I don't want to get in trouble. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Madam CAO, ladies and gentlemen of Humboldt County. Homelessness is just one piece of my puzzle. Mental illness is just another piece of my puzzle. To give you a little bit, I do have a college degree. I have an associate arts degree in sociology, and I have a full scholarship paid by the National Law Center on Homelessness and Poverty to my bachelor's degree in community psychology, by being an advocate since 2007. There is a necessity of having homeless voices on this panel. Life experience is a degree all in itself. Homeless people, we can come forward, we can move forward productively and proactively. I am going to be starting a community organization here in Humboldt, and it's called Homeless Voices of Humboldt, to productively and proactively share our stories and overcoming of where we're at and where we're going to be in the future. But we're going to need places at the table. So when I am asking, Homeless Voices of Humboldt is asking, very humbly and meekly, that this both move forward with the asked items, that being homeless people on this committee and a shelter declaration. Thank you for your time, your concern, and your consideration on this matter, and please have a good day.
Thank you. Welcome.
So much to say in so little time. Like everybody else, I thank you for your efforts. But again, I think this is such an important moment, because basically what people have told you is there are extraordinary programs, social services, nonprofits, but there are gaps. And Connie Beck described it. They can only help the people they're mandated to help. And Sally Hewitt said that if people don't have money, they can get evicted. So in other words, there's this gap between who is eligible for the funds and who is house ready. And then she talked about, Sally Hewitt, that one of the main problems is people, pets, and possessions. So this is the kind of discussion, the back and forth exchange of information. If we don't have it, we're not going to succeed. Because I got to tell you, and I know that I did not explain it very well, but I appreciate everything that's been done. But this document that you're basing your shelter crisis on is not accurate. And I think, as honorable people that I know you to be, you'd want it to be accurate. There is not a McKinleyville church shelter at the moment. And Darlene